Hello everyone, this is Paul from the APN Academy, and in today's video we're going to be looking at currency pairs. Now, this is the second video of the beginner series. The first one we did was about what Forex is. And we mentioned in that previous video that Forex is traded in pairs. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at what are these currency pairs that we're talking about, right? And what is entailed in the currency pairs. We're going to be looking at what a currency pair is, and then the symbols, some of the symbols, not all, but some of the symbols that do that are contained in the currency pairs. And also we're going to be talking about what a base and quote currency is, because in a pair, in a currency pair, we do have two currencies of two different countries, right? So we have what we call a base and what we call a quote. We're going to be looking at them. So we're going to be looking at the types of currency pairs. We have types of currency pairs, and we're going to be giving some examples of the currency pairs that are in those types, right? So without wasting time, let's just dive into it, right? Let's start with what is a currency pair. Remember in the previous video, we mentioned that Forex involves exchanging two currencies. In case you're doing physically, you exchange, let's say, currency of your country to a different country's currency, whereby you want to travel, or maybe you've been working in and you want to exchange that country's currency into your home currency, right? So it involves two different currencies. Now, also in the type of trading we're doing, we have two currencies that we're going to be trading. The only difference here is that you're not doing it physically, rather you're doing it for differences of price, right? So let's say I want to exchange euro to the dollar. It's going to be written as euro USD, right? So this is what we call a currency pair, right? Now we're going to have what we call an exchange rate. We spoke about exchanging. There's in the previous video that there's going to be a price always that you're going to be using to exchange, right? Either buying or selling. So there's going to be what we call exchange rate. They say it will be, this is just a random figure I'm using, 1.1234, let's say. Now this is what we're getting as the exchange rate. Now this currency pair here, the difference is that in our case here, we're trading the gains or the loss in this value here. We're not trading it physically, that we're exchanging. We're exchanging it like the way we do it in Forex bureaus, like physically, right? Electronically, we're just trading for gains or losses in the differences of the price, of the exchange price that we are given. Are we together? We're going to understand that a little bit later on, right? So what is this? What is a currency? What is a currency pair? A currency pair is simply a quotation of two different currencies of different economies or different countries, right? We've already looked at that. We have mentioned that Forex is traded in pairs. And then why are they traded? Why are they quoted in pairs? Or why do we trade Forex in pairs? It's because you exchange one currency to another, right? Just like we said, Forex in full is foreign exchange. You have a purpose you want to use a different country's currency for. Maybe you want to buy things from that country, or maybe you want to go there, or maybe you've been in that country and you want to come back to your country, yeah, your original country. So that's why there's an exchange happening there. That's why we do it in pairs, right? And then an example of what they've given you is that it can be Euro USD, it can be USD CHF, depending on the country you're in. It can be a USD ZAR. Let's say if an American is going to the South South Africa, he or she has to make sure gets what? South African rands. And if a South African is going to America, has to make sure that they get what? The United States dollars, right? So that's what we call a pair, and that's how a pair comes about. A pair comes about, just to recap, because it involves exchanging currencies of two different countries. You're moving from a currency of one country to a different country's currency. That's what makes a pair, right? So let's continue. Now let's look at some of the symbols that you're going to be coming across in the markets as you're going to be trading, right? We have very many symbols in the market, but these are just the common ones that you could be coming across with. We have AUD, it stands for the Australian dollar, or sometimes it is called the Aussie. Then we have the USD, the very common one, it has very many names, but you can call it a baht, right? Then we have the JPY, standing for the Japanese yen. You can just call it the yen. Then we have the CAD, which is the Canadian dollar. Sometimes you can call it the loonie. Then we have the CHF, which is the Switzerland francs. Then sometimes you can call it the Swiss just, right? Then we have the GBP, which is the Great British Pound. sometimes can just be called the cable. And then we have NZD, which is the New Zealand dollar, or sometimes it can be referred to as just the Kiwi. Then there are some others which are not majorly or mostly traded, but they are being traded. Not that just that the volumes of them being traded is slightly less compared to the ones we mentioned prior. Now we have the ZAR, which is the ZAR, South African rands, right? Then we have MXN, which is the Mexican peso, and then we have the TRY, which is the Turkish lira. So these are some of the symbols that you're going to be coming across in the market. Now, these symbols are what makes up the pair. Someone may be asking, why are you telling us about these? Why are you telling us about these symbols? It's because they're the ones that make up the pair. For example, if you want to trade the Australian dollar and the US dollar, you want to exchange or you want to trade them. The pair they make a pair, writing it as AUD, USD, right? Let's say someone wants to trade the USD and the South African rand, it will be USD, ZAR, right? So this is why we're looking at these symbols. Are we together? We have looked at these symbols because they're the most common and used. There are also others, like the Norwegian krona. There are very many others that we have not spoken about, but I just wanted to bring to your attention that the symbols are needed for us to come up with pairs, right? So let's continue, right? Now, let's talk about the base and the quote currency, right? Remember, we said that in a pair, we do have this first currency here. Now, this first currency is what we are calling a base, while the second one is what we are calling a quote. Now, usually the base currency is equivalent to 1. Always, it's equivalent to 1. And then the quote currency is normally done which takes the exchange rate. Are we together? Let me just repeat that. Usually the base currency is equivalent to 1, right? And then the base currency usually takes the exchange rate, meaning that one base currency is equivalent to that quote, the amount that has been quoted of the second currency. Let's just take an example. If they say that Euro USD is exchanging, the exchange rate is 1.1234. This is just a rate I'm using. It's not the original rate. It means that for every one euro, I have $1.1234. Are we together? For every 1 euro I have, it means I have $1.1234. Are you getting it? Or let's say, for example, let's just take another example. Let's say that I have USD CHF, right? Now we know that CHF is the Swiss francs. Now, if they say the exchange rate is, let's say, 0.9894. These are just random figures I'm picking. They're not the exact figures, right? Now, it means that for every $1, I have 0.9 francs, or Swiss francs, right? This is what it means. Every base currency, we have said that the first one is the base, then the second one is the quote. So in this case here, this one here is our base currency, and then this one here is our quote currency. Are we together? So for every one base, it's equivalent to the same quote or the same exchange rate of the second currency. So if they give an exchange rate, just know that automatically the base currency, this first currency here, is 1, while the exchange rate that you've been given is the equivalent to the quote. Let me just repeat. The example would be, let's use USD CHF. If I have USD CHF exchange rate at 0.9894, it means that $1 is equivalent to 0.9894 CHF. I hope it makes sense, right? So in simple terms, just the base is the first currency here, then the quote is the second currency here. It's just as simple as that, right? So let's now look at the types of these currency pairs. We do have types of currency pairs, and the first one, we have the major currency pairs. Now, what are these major currency pairs? The major currency pairs are pairs that include the dollar in them. Like the dollar is one of the pairs. Remember, we have said these currencies are traded in pairs. So the moment there's a dollar in one of those pairs, right? It means that especially if they are of those developed countries, if the pair is of developed countries and has a dollar in it, it's a major currency pair. And the examples are listed below. We have the GBP USD, we have the Euro USD, we have the USD CHF, we have the USD CAD, we have the AUD USD, and we have the New Zealand USD. Now, these are the major currency pairs. And these major currency pairs are the ones that are traded mostly because there are a lot of volumes of people. People are traveling more in these countries. People are doing business more in these countries because they're already developed countries. Are we together? These zones are already developed. So there's a lot of business taking place in these countries. Are we together? Let me just repeat that. Major currency pairs include the dollar as one of the currencies, especially if the pair is of those developed countries. Are we together? So then the second one is we have cross-currency pairs. Now, these ones do not include the dollars or any of the currencies in them, right? They may be developed countries or they may not be developed. They may be developed countries, but when the dollar is not in them, right? Let me just repeat that. They do not include the dollar as one of them. They may be developed countries, but when the dollar is not part of them. For example, GBP JPY, you see these are developed states, right? But the dollar is not involved. We have AUD JPY, we have GBP New Zealand, we have Euro New Zealand, we have Euro GBP. These are examples of currency pairs that do not include the dollar, but the pairing is of currency pairs from countries that are already developed. Are we together? Then we do have exotic currency pairs. Now, these are pairs that include at least one major currency. The major currencies, we mentioned them: the GBP, the USD, the CAD, the CHF, the AUD. The ones we mentioned are these ones here. These are the major currencies. Now, we brought them in pairs, but pound, here we're saying pound, USD, CAD, CHF, AUD, Euro, New Zealand. These are major currencies, right? So we're saying exotic pairs. These are currency pairs that have a major being paired with a currency from a developing country. Are we together? For example, we have the USD is a major being paired with the MXN. Then here, USD is a major being paired with the South African Rand. Euro is a major being paired with the TRY. USD is a major being paired with the TRY here, right? So these are the types of currency pairs that we do have, right? We do have major currency pairs, we do have cross currency pairs, and then we do have the exotic currency pairs. Are we together? So this is what we had for you in this video. And if you have questions, do not forget to ask them in the comment section. We usually try our best to answer or respond to everyone so that you understand, right? So this is the second video on the beginners series, and hope you guys, if you're new, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss the other videos that are coming up, right? So that you can improve as you take on your trading journey, right? And if you've been watching our videos, do not forget to smash that likes button so that many people can come across our videos. Have a great time.